Hello and welcome to the Bus Home. It's Mirren 0, Glasgow Celtic 1 in one of the most dramatic weeks in the history of Celtic Football Club. We had a game that was dying out with a whimper, and with one swing of that left boot, Callum McGregor changes the entire mood of hundreds of thousands of people across the world. Phil McGinley, how are you?
Absolutely fantastic. I'm one of those many hundreds of thousands of people whose mood is definitely significantly better than what it was 10 minutes ago. Once you don't shoot, you don't score, old adage, into it. And it's quite funny how the previous manager, who seemed to train it out of them to not shoot outside the box, since he's left, Callum McGregor now has unleashed a thunder bastard from outside the area twice now. So, just like he did a year ago. So it's funny how that's coming back into his game again, but what a way to win it. And I say 10 minutes ago, I was in the depths of despair, but some laugh supporting this team, honestly. Some laugh at times.
Well, my voice is absolutely gone. I did a 5-minute voice message on the team chat, and my voice is just completely gone. Listen, someone famously once said, if you swing and you miss, it could be fatal. Well, Callum McGregor swung and he didn't fucking miss. And we are here to talk about this result. We're here to touch on all of the stuff of yesterday and the last couple of weeks. It's all been done. I thought yourself, Phil, Liam, and John done a great job of covering that off last night. I'll be honest with you. I've just had the earphones in for the last 24 hours, listening wall to wall of just AGM reaction. I'm not even sure what my own reaction is. I think I've got it sort of in my head. We'll touch on it a wee bit. I think it's unavoidable. Up until that last strike, this post-match was probably going to be about 2 minutes on the match and about 45 or whatever length of time you could stick me. Talking about the rest of the stuff. Honestly, we've said it so many times. Myself and Paisley said it all the time. Myself and Liam have said it this season. Your post-match reaction can be turned in a second. And there's been so many times I've been absolutely dreading coming on, and it's turned into euphoria, like today. And there's been so many times where you've been feeling euphoric and you're looking forward to coming on, you're buzzing, you're getting the old optic out and everything, and the next minute, fucking ball ends up in your Celtic net and you're crestfallen and you're thinking, I'm going to phone in sick here. Now, I don't phone in sick. I don't do that. But I don't like coming on when the chips are down. It's not good. It's not nice. But you've got to do it. But today's not that day. It could have been that day. It should have been that day. I think we were second best for much of that match. We got out of jail. Let's chew through all of that. Phil, take away all that good stuff for me.
No worries at all, mate. So yes, of course, if you want to do all that good stuff and help out the channel, again, we are still on that upward trajectory. I think we have just hit 1,100 subscribers. We're now at 1,1. So again, we're just climbing up again, steady. I don't know what the next milestone is, but you can help us on the way to that. Hit the subscribe button if you discover us tonight, in the next few days, whatever, and you like what we do, then by all means, we'd appreciate that. The bell notification, reminded when we're on the road. We're quite consistent in doing post-match shows, so we're always on there. We're always on a Friday night, and we've got other shows that we can splice in here and there. I'd say like button helps as well, gets us more traction in the algorithm on YouTube. People who like Celtic podcast content are more likely to see the channel, and it spreads awareness of it. And you can retweet if you happen to see any links getting posted by the Boys in the Bus Twitter account about any shows, then hit the retweet button and help spread awareness that way. Get involved in our comment section, as people are already doing. Let us know what you thought of the game. I can see a theme already of they weren't particularly good, but hey, we got away with it anyway. And become a Boys in the Bus member as well for $1.99 a month. None of our content's ever going to be on Patreon or behind the paywall, but it just helps keep the old diesel in the tank. And you'll get a wee virtual Celtic scarf next to your name as well on YouTube. So I mean, as I keep saying, what more could you possibly want? Brilliant value right there. So yes, that's all the good stuff done, Terry. Let's try and pick through this game then.
Okay, guys, Martin's on there. I've got the sound down, obviously, because I'm on live. If he gives anything of note away in terms of his position, the managerial position, drop us a wee note into the chat. We will touch on that later on. Phil, I have an awful feeling that something you said might be about to come true. I know I think you're not a betting man.
Mm-hmm.
I've been following the betting on this very closely because I had a speculative punt on Wilfred Nancy at 10-1, and
Okay.
he went as short as 1-7. He's now only 1-3, which means he's much less likely than he was a week ago. And believe it or not, Martin O'Neill's always been either second favourite or third favourite, and Knutson was the only other one that was in the top three. Who do you think second favourite is now?
Probably Sean Maloney, I would guess, if it's Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney.
Second favourite after yesterday's debacle, Sean Maloney came right into 4-1. Now, just to put that into context, a week ago, Sean Maloney was the same odds as Barbara Windsor and Liam Neeson to be the next manager of Celtic. Overnight, he became 4-1. I reckon what's happened is they've gone in there at 12:30 because that's when the cheeses and the bottle of wine were ordered for 12:30. They weren't going past that. I think they've gone in there. I think they've turned around and said, what is the most annoying thing we could do to piss these fuckers off? Let's give it to Sean. Now, let's see what happens. But Sean Maloney has gone from nowhere in the betting, absolutely nowhere, to 4-1, second favourite. Let's see what happens. Anyway, let's try and get a bit of order to this. I will do my best, Phil. If I'm not keeping it between the hedges, just take over and jump in. One thing I will say is the SPFL, they haven't been very kind to me. I mean, an Alki Irish man watching Celtic at 8 o'clock and then having to come on and do a post-match, that's just not on. It is just not on in any way, shape or form. Shame on you. But I'm here and I'll do my best and we'll get through it. As we always do, Phil, let's pull up the team. Surprises. Surprises for me. Ralston back in, no sign of Simpson Pusey is the first thing that jumps out at me, not even on the bench. Rest of it's reasonably predictable. I would have thought you don't know what's happened over the international break. Guys have been away. Some guys have played minutes. Some guys haven't played minutes. Some guys have travelled and not played minutes. Some guys have travelled loads and played loads and all that kind of jazz. I always say, Phil, and it's not a pass, I always say the first game back after the international break for a team like Celtic, where there's quite a lot of players away, it's always difficult. And with all due respect, you've got St Mirren, who have probably had 2 full weeks to work on a game plan, a shape, and prepare for this game. That's not an out. And none of the stuff that happened yesterday in the Kerrydale suite, and none of the stuff that goes on at boardroom level or in the stands or anything, none of that gives the players an out. But there are loads of outs that they could lean on. And if I think about any kind of work scenario, if it's rotten from the top down, that sets a culture and that gives the people at the bottom. Now, football's a lot different because the people at the bottom of the structure chart are the players, but they are usually the higher earners as well, which is completely abnormal. That doesn't happen in most business corporate situations, but that's where it is. And see what we seen yesterday, and we'll move it on. We'll touch on it later. We'll do the match because that's what this show's about. But see when you see the chaos that's happened there yesterday, and when I listened to the comments from the Columbus Crew guy who talked about the Wild West, I don't think he was talking about Europe specifically. I think he was talking about Celtic specifically. He was talking about outside of America, it's like the Wild West. And I think that's what he's experienced in the last 2 or 3 weeks. That yesterday was the Wild West. And see if you're a player and you're just a footballer who's there to earn your money and do your job. See, for a lot of these guys, it's different for us as Celtic fans. we think all the players should be in there and they should want to do well for Celtic and want to do well for the fans and want to be the absolute best that they can be. Some of them will be, but some of them will just be like anybody in your work or my work or anybody's work that's watching, who will just be there to get their money as easy as they can and just get by from day to day and bluff through from 1 week, 1 month, 1 year to the next and get your dough. And that's normal. And we can't sit there and say that's unacceptable. That's just the way it is. These guys are doing a job, and the ones that support Celtic are a wee bit different. The captain probably falls into that area, or the one that, the guys that really, really feel it. But there's a lot of the guys in that squad that are just doing a job. And when the culture of the whole club or the whole company is rotten from the top down, it just gives so many outs where guys can just go, do you know what? If they've chucked it, fucking why am I going to bust my balls? Why am I going to go into a tackle where I might get injured and be out for 6 months or a year or career-threatening injury? Why am I going to stick my head in when there's boots flying? Fuck that. I'll just get my dough. I'll just run about and get my dough and just, get it as easy as I can. Anyway, there's 45 in the chat, Phil. Once the big boys finish here around about 1:30, I reckon our numbers will surge to 100. We know our place in the food chain. Let's go. So we've done the lineup. Well, we haven't done the lineup. I've put it up. I've said there was one surprise for me. The one surprise for me was no sign of Simpson Pusey whatsoever. Yeah. He wasn't away on international duty, as far as I'm aware. There may be an injury. I'd be surprised if there's not an injury. I'm surprised that he hasn't made it into the matchday squad. There's something not right there. I mean, Anthony Ralston, I didn't make very notes in the first half, but I made one.
There was nothing to note.
I did make one. And it just was Ralston is dreadful. That was my note.
Yes, I agree.
That was my note for the first half. Now, Anthony Ralston, I give him all the credit going first season, Ange. Absolutely, 100%. Brilliant. I wanted him in instead of Juranovic. I thought he was amazing. Whatever happened that season, he was brilliant and fair dues. But that's the outlier. Everything before that and everything after that is dog shit. I've said it on here enough times. I hope he's still got the overalls. I hope he's still got the hawk and everything he needs to get back onto the site and do the bricklaying, because that's where his future lies as far as I'm concerned. He's fucking dreadful. How he's in that Scotland squad, I've no idea. He was dreadful. I'm not going to pick on him, but that's my only note of the first half. And I don't understand. If Simpson Pusey is not injured, I do not understand how he wasn't in that squad. You've got 11 players and 9 subs, 20 players. He done nothing to suggest that last game that he shouldn't be in again.
Yeah, the very least you would expect on the bench. I mean, the game against Kelly that he played, Martin O'Neill did say that he was having to play him there due to injury, and it was a centre-back playing at right-back. But defensively against Kelly, he did very little wrong. He was clearly uncomfortable coming forward and getting crosses in. Like, that's fine. I get it. He's a centre-back, and it's not his natural thing. But yeah, you'd expect him to at least make the bench in that case. And for it to be Dane Murray, who obviously got thrown in when he came on, I guess we were all having PTSD after his last outing. You'd think that surely Simpson Pusey is a better option at that point, at least to be on the bench. Has to be.
Got to be. The commentator of the night, he goes, Dane Murray's coming on for his 10th appearance for Celtic. 10th appearance in fucking 4 years.
Pretty much.
10th? No, it is. That's what he said. It's the 10th appearance in 4 years. And I just don't get it. The last manager built this guy up to be the next big thing. Now, I'm just a dickhead watching games with a few drinks in me, right? Brendan Rodgers seen him every day. Martin O'Neill and Chum, well, unless Martin's at fucking 2-minute AGMs and stuff, those guys they're seeing them every single day. And you've got to bow to their expertise and the fact that they're seeing it day in, day out. But I just do not see anything. I've not seen anything in Dane Murray to tell me he's anything close to being a Celtic player. Not at all. And I just cannot believe that a guy that's come from City, and I'm getting bored here because I repeat this all the time. I just cannot believe a guy that's come from City, played for City in the Premier League, played for City in the Champions League, how Dane Murray is ahead of him. I've not seen it. Now, if he's shown that every single day in training, then fair play. That's the right decision. He gets into the squad ahead of him. I just can't see how that is. But let's not dwell on that.
Just to quickly point the one note you did take as well, just to give my tuppence worth on that about Ralston. He was keeping the spirit of Brendan Rodgers alive in that first half, because every time the ball came to him, it was back the way. He realised he couldn't take on his man, and it was just double up back the way to Schmeichel, across the way to Trusty, and it was like we were trying to get anywhere. But yeah, we kept on pinging the ball to him, and it's like he's not getting anywhere. So yeah, Ralston was having a shocker. He was the only observation I had as well in the first half.
See, until the 95th minute of the 94 minutes, I had every single player down as crap. Every single player. So this isn't a dig at Ralston. He just sticks out with a sore thumb. I don't know what it is. I think it's that we run back. It's just that wee awkward run. It just fucking annoys me or something. Listen, first half, other than my note about Ralston, I have made a couple of other notes. St Mirren should have been ahead in 6 minutes. I can't remember what the chance was. They should have scored.
It came off the bottom of the guy's foot. It skimmed across the goal from Ralston's side, and he actually gets a touch on it, but doesn't put it in the net. Aye. Right.
Tanecki cuts in on 15 minutes. Good effort, just over the bar. First time I made any kind of note of Celtic being in possession in St Mirren's half. 15 minutes into a match. St Mirren then hit the post on the half-hour mark. And then Johnny Kenny fucking kicks it with the wrong foot before he... from the right hand side. He clips it with his left and smacks it with his right. And that was just the story of his game.
He had the cheek to be looking about for like a divot, like he was blaming it on the park. I think the commentator even said that. I think McFadden said something like, he's looking for a divot there to blame.
He was, but do you know what, Phil? I actually made a brain note. I thought the pitch was looking very, very good, considering the weather that there's been in Scotland over the last few days, and we've had it here as well. And for that pitch to be in that kind of nick, I thought it was very, very good. At one point, actually, I was Googling to see if it was an artificial, because I thought it looked so good. So I'm sorry, Johnny, you ain't getting away with that one. No. So half-time, I've got about 5 scribbles on my page. I've just wrote, this is fucking dreadful, Celtic. Half-time, Luke McCann comes on for Johnny Kenny. Bit of a surprise, you've a midfielder coming on for a striker, but that means Dyson's moving across. Bit damning for the 5 million man, Balakwisha. Bit damning for Yang, but then he was out the door. But then we drag him on later when we're into the last dregs and we're trying to win it. Maida gets a chance at the start of the second half. It was a little bit brighter at the start of the second half, Phil. A little bit more urgency. Something to cling on to. Maida had a chance, but he was then ruled offside, but he should have scored. Yang comes on for Tanecki, 25 minutes to go. It's getting into that period where I'm getting towards panic mode. I don't usually panic until 65, and then I'm sitting going, right, do you know what? We've got 15 minutes here before 80. If we're not leading before 80, then I'm going on to the vodka. I need something to settle me here. We need to be ahead before 80. 65, I'm okay up to 65. I'm reasonably calm. And over the years, as the guy said yesterday, over the years, we've done okay. And you kind of think, yeah, do you know what? If we're ahead by 65, we'll probably see this out all right. But we got to 65 and you're bringing on Yang again. Yang that was down the motorway to Birmingham during the summer and had to come back up the motorway again. Then, probably one of the key moments of the game, Phil, on the 68th, Liam Scales fires the ball into his own net.
Yep.
What was the on-field decision? No,
on-field decision was no goal. The linesman did put his flag up because the St Mirren players ran off celebrating, then abruptly stopped when they saw the flag was up. So the linesman did give it as offside, and then they had to review it.
So my understanding of that situation is the offside player did not touch the ball at all. However, because of the pressure created by the offside player, who, if Liam Scales didn't clear the ball, the offside player would have put the ball into the net past Kasper Schmeichel, because everything on target currently goes past Kasper Schmeichel from inside the 6-yard box or inside the other half. That's why that goal was given offside. And just make sure I'm correct on that. And that's the right decision.
Yeah, I agree. It's the right decision because it's the attacking phase of play. The APPs, the referees, the players who are active. Now, that number 10 for St Mirren, his intention is 100% to go for the ball. Yes, he doesn't touch it. If you want to be panicky, if people want to argue it, I mean, I've not got the volume up on my TV, so I don't know if Chris Boyd is digging his heels in or anything. You know what he's
don't
like.
Worry, Willie will back us up next month. So it doesn't matter what anybody says.
No doubt. But the number 10, 100%, his intention is to get on the end of that ball because it's bouncing into the box and he makes a move for it. Doesn't touch it, but his intention's there. So he is active. He is interfering with play because he's making a legitimate move. Doesn't touch it, yes. Liam Scales very clumsily puts it in his own net, as well as, but it's offside. It is offside. It clearly is. But
if he's not there, Liam Scales leaves it and Kasper Schmeichel comes out and lifts it. Hopefully. There's no guarantee. There's no guarantee, but hopefully. Yeah, I'm conscious we've ignored the chat there for a wee while, Phil.
I think Stuart CFC saying that Chris Boyd actually agrees that it was offside. So I know he usually digs his heels in and starts having a wee hissy fit in the studio and starts ranting at Ailey Barber and stuff like that.
There's a wee bit of deflection tactics today because there's a very controversial decision which we.
Oh yes, I did see that actually.
We can touch on. Oh, there's Shanklin back in the chat, our old Jambo friend. How you, Shanklin?
Yeah, that's right. I popped up and obviously we lost to Dundee or we lost to Hearts. It was that one that he popped
Don't write us off yet, Shanklin. You're very welcome to be in the chat all the same.
Long way to go. Cal McGregor said at the end of the game, Terry said, a lot of football still to be played. There is.
There is. There's a lot of football still to be played. Let's just touch on that. I don't want to go into Rangers and all that kind of stuff, Phil, but I did see that incident earlier today. And the good news is that Rangers have asked for a meeting with the SFA on Monday, because I'll remind you what they said a couple of weeks ago. They want the correct decisions for all teams. So absolute fair play to Rangers. They have demanded a meeting with the SFA on Monday morning to understand why Livingston were not given a penalty for a deliberate handball where the player moves his hand from a natural position to an unnatural position to block the ball. So fair play to Rangers. They're fucking true to their word. They've demanded a meeting with the SFA on Monday, and I fucking applaud that. Fair play to you.
Yeah, indeed. That's exactly what they said. That is their words. So put your money where your mouth is then. Let's see if they say anything. I've got a funny feeling, Terry, there will be radio silence on that one. Just get that little inkling that's...
No, I don't, Phil, because I believe them. They said they want the correct decisions for every single team. So I reckon they'll be out there on force this week. I genuinely do. I'm gonna take them at their word. Anyway, enough of it, Rangers.
Yeah.
Where are we at?
The offside goal we just talked about there. So
fuck all until the 75 minutes.
Yeah.
This is one, Phil, that I'm interested in.
Mm-hmm.
Dyson Maida gets brought down by Gogic.
Mm-hmm.
The referee gives a free kick on the edge of the box. I'm looking at that incident. Now, I'm looking at it 7 or 8 pints of Guinness deep. But what I see there is a foul from Gogic that starts about 2 yards outside the box and continues to just inside the penalty box where Dyson Maida then goes down. And we were told on the Cherney incident that was a mistake by the referee and the VAR, and that if it starts outside the box and continues into the box, that is a penalty kick. Now, I've only seen it once, but my recollection, albeit loads of Guinness, my recollection is that started about 2 yards outside the box, but that continued into the box. And I think that's a penalty kick. And we are up, Phil, to 108. So I can tell you that Axon has just finished at 10:30. Thank you very much, Paul, John, and the boys. We're now up to 107. Get in there.
There you go. Yeah. what we saw on Tuesday night with Scotland, where there was a penalty given where the boy was clearly felt outside the box but tumbled inside the box, and it was given.
He
that
wasn't
was,
inside the box, by the way. I don't know what box anybody was looking at, but he wasn't inside any box.
Yeah, but they deemed that a penalty. But yeah, the instant tonight, there was a couple of things there because I seen a few folks saying as well.
Nobody mentioned it, Phil. Nobody mentioned it, by the way.
But sort of on Twitter and stuff like that, like some people saying, was Maeda through there? Would that also be like a red card defence? Maybe it was a free kick, but I don't know. Was Maeda 100% in control of the ball? Maybe that's what would go against him.
Has Maeda ever been 100% in control of the ball since he signed for us?
That's true, actually. Yeah, there is an argument for that. I suppose he can take a clumsy touch, but there was a few moments there where he did seem to have Gogic a bit worried getting in behind him, but it just didn't come off for him. Maybe the Maeda of last season, would have just went in and scored because there's a couple of times he had Gogic panicking there. I noticed early in the second half when we actually started to look a wee bit more purposeful, we were going long. There was like the first two attacks that we had, it was just a long ball, which is like the antichrist to Celtic with the way we've played in the last few years. The idea of a long ball, our managers never like it, but Liam Scales just went long. It takes an awkward bounce. Gogic doesn't judge it well. Maeda's in behind and whatnot. So yeah, it was just a case of we had to needs must tonight, and sometimes you just got to go. That long ball shouldn't be seen as like anti-football or anything like that. But yeah, there was a few times where we had Gogic a wee bit worried, but yeah, Maeda just a couple of clumsy touches and whatnot, and to say the Maeda of last season could have been a bit different, but yeah, who knows what his mindset is right now, Terry, with the stories we've had about him this season. So
I know.
Yeah, he's maybe not fully there.
I know. And again, that situation's not ideal. I was thinking about that one the other day. So you've got the situation last January where Kyogo left and we didn't get a replacement in. And then you've got the situation in the summer where Maeda wanted to leave and was led to believe he was going to leave. But then because they didn't get a replacement in, they didn't let him leave. And we were critical of both. We were critical of both situations because why are you letting Kyogo go without a replacement? Why are you keeping Maeda when he doesn't want to be here? So
yeah,
there's been a few things happening over the last couple of days where I kind of tried to just step back and look at it from the other side. A few, not very many, but a few. Anyway, we didn't get a penalty. I was thinking, Phil, with 15 minutes to go, 0-0, this would be a good time to bring on your 1.5 million centre forward from the summer, who is part of a model who has served us so well over the years.
Yes.
But no, we didn't bring him on. We brought on Colby Donovan.
Yeah, it was starting to look a bit ominous at that point. Yeah, I mean, the bench right now is quite uninspiring because of the number of injuries we've got, and it's not getting any better with the news about Carter Vickers and Johnston. But yeah, when you turn and look at the bench, it's like, right, no, need a goal. Is there anybody on the bench that is of a forward variety? That, because forwards are obviously what you associate with goals. Shin Yamada. So that's now, we've questioned when Brendan Rodgers was in charge about, how bad must Shin be, the way that he's kind of written him off and some of the things he said about him. And Martin O'Neill has not really used him neither. So that's now two managers, maybe three if you want to argue that Sean Maloney's the one picking the team. Then, yeah, Shin Yamada, he just can't seem to catch a break at all. But again, there was a few comments, like, what was it, 2 weeks ago, he played in like a B team game against East
I watched the game.
And he was dire, so, there is that.
Well, he was energetic, and what I would say as well is, for one player, like say one of the first team players went down into that team and played, it probably wouldn't make a massive difference because it's one player in a team of 11. I did tune into that game because I want to try and get a wee bit of value out of my Premier Sports subscription, but I just wanted to see, at 4 levels down, and you've got to remember East Kilbride were 5 levels down last season. Surely this guy sticks out like a sore thumb. We spent £1.5 million on this guy. He's part of the model that has served us so well.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to see what this guy had, and say, to be honest, there were flashes, right? There were flashes. But, and I will also caveat, the difference in levels in footballers, they're small margins. See the difference in a £20 million player and a £6 million player. You're probably only talking 2-3% better player in terms of consistency, ability, reliability, all them kind of things, attitude. You're probably getting a 3%, 4% uplift for maybe £10 million. But when you do that over every single position, you're then getting a 40, 50% uplift if every single player is better than the other team. But he did not stand out against East Kilbride. Now, I don't know if they're full-time. I doubt very much they would be. I'd imagine there's guys there that are in call centres and building sites and all that kind of stuff. And that, by the way, I'm not slagging those industries because I've worked in both of them. So, but you've got a guy that we've paid £1.5 million for. Somebody within Celtic has made a call that there's £1.5 million can be spent on this guy. He doesn't stand out against East Kilbride, and we need a goal to fucking save our season in the SPL, and we bring on Colby Donovan ahead of our £1.5 million signing, who is part of the model that signed us so well. Talk me through that.
I try to make sense of it myself. Again, it just shows you that this boy must be so far off it. See, that's now 2 managers that are deeming that. But yeah, again, keep in mind what we've been told. And again, both stories can't be true, Terry, is from Dermot Desmond's scathing rant after Brendan left that the manager, Brendan, signed off on all the players and approved all the signings, but then that didn't compute with what we saw. But see, now we've got a second manager. Well, there he is right there with his golf club too.
If you swing, you cannot miss.
Cannot miss. We've definitely missed for this one because Yeshin Yamada, just it's one that's going to probably fizzle out. This if you probably leave at the end of the season and we won't hear much about him again. But I just want to quickly come in on something, Terry. I think we've missed a massive thing tonight with the post-match interview. A few people in the chat, and I've got a comment there from Breezy up saying Martin O'Neill seems to be losing his patience with the board. Considering a manager, he didn't hold back on his Sky Sports interview, and another one just above that. Right. Here it is from Smell the Glove says Martin O'Neill told the board to make their mind up very quickly. So it seems like in his post-match he didn't hold back. So he's kind of wanting this hurried along.
I look forward to grabbing that once we go off. We're up to 123, Phil. I told you. Didn't I tell you once the big guys get out of the way, we're reeling them in here.
Indeed.
I think Martin is, I'll be honest with you, right? See, when he came in, my first instinct was it was a dirty act to put a man of that age into the absolute clusterfuck of what was going on. Now, I also have said, I think having Martin there gives us the best chance of winning the league. I honestly feel Martin and Sean are the best chance of us winning this league. See if we bring in a Nancy or anybody else at this point, I think there's a settling in period that could be fatal to our title ambitions. But I'm pretty sure what's happening now is Martin's wife has noticed that he is missing. Yeah, and she has rang. He went for a loaf 4 weeks ago, and he hasn't come home. And she's just realised, and she's now rang him on his mobile, and she said, "Where the hell are you at? I've been out looking for you. Where are you at? Get yourself down the road." And now he's starting to panic, and he's going, right, I need this is done. I need gone from here.
Condors has came in to give us more context. His interview wasn't dramatic at all. Bit of a joke from Martin O'Neill saying the game is on Thursday. They'll need to tell him by Wednesday if he's taking the game. That's all. So there we go. So we haven't seen it yet. We're just going by what's being said in the chat, Condors. So
I'll grab it when I get off, Phil, and see what I think of it. But yeah. Let's bring the game to a close, and then we'll touch on some of those other issues. So
yeah,
let's just fast forward to the only real moment of note in the game. I'm
Yes.
I'm starting to wonder, how am I going to go on here and face the internet? Don't want to let Phil down, but I honestly cannot be arsed going on to talk about another 0-0. I could be wrong. I think it would have been 7 0-0s this season. That is totally unheard of for Celtic.
Yeah.
We did not have one shot on target in the regulation 90 minutes. We had a feeble header from Yang that was never going to go in under any circumstances. And then in injury time, on top of injury time, Callum McGregor, the captain of our football club, in a week where Scotland have scored many wonderful goals.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, that's the best of the whole lot. That's the one that has made me so happy. And I'll caveat that, by the way, I've not got really any affiliation to any of the Irish teams. I'm kind of like a bit in limbo where I live in the north, but I'm supposed to support the south, and I can't really be arsed by any of it, to be honest.
Yeah.
And the only international match I watched over that period, well, I watched both Scotland games. The only international matches I watched were Scotland. I always watch Scotland. The only international I've ever been to was Scotland against Holland at Hampden Park. The only international match I jumped off my sofa during the week was Scotland against Denmark. What a game. Fair play to Scotland. Fair play to all you guys who are Scottish and love Scotland and have been through all the glorious failures, because there have been so many.
And a lot, yeah.
I was watching that game going, if there's one team that are going to fuck this up, it's Scotland. And the commentator said it. He said, I think Scotland need to score just before the final whistle, because then there's no room for that glorious failure.
Yeah.
And then Kieran Tierney steps up. What a moment. Kieran Tierney. Who would have believed that a guy with a left foot could play anywhere other than the left-hand side of the defence? That'll never catch on, I don't think. But in this week, where there's been so many great Scottish goals, there's only one that's mattered to me really, really deep down. I enjoyed the Scotland ones. I really did. I jumped. I celebrated. I'm so happy for the likes of yourself and Reegan and Conor and David and John Logan, all the guys in the boss, Big Liam, anybody else. If I've missed somebody, I'm sorry. I'm so happy for all of you guys that your international team is going to the World Cup, and going to the World Cup with a decent enough side and a manager who, let's face it, he knows how to get the job done or get the best result possible. That's probably the best way to describe Steve Clarke. He gets the best result possible with what he's got in front of him. But my goodness, what a moment from the Celtic captain. Callum McGregor gets the ball, picks it up. He knows at that point, this is the last kick of this game.
Yep.
And he rifles that into the top corner of the net. Callum McGregor has been written off by so many people, most of them Celtic fans, because fans of most other clubs have got a lot of respect for him. He's been written off by a lot of people within Celtic Football Club. What a moment for this guy. And I'll tell you what, Phil, he's retired from international football. There's been chat this week. If he came back, would you let him back? I genuinely don't. I don't think he'll be that bothered. I really don't. I think he's made his decision. I think he loves Celtic. I think he'd be so happy for the guys that he played with. I think he'd be so happy for his country. What a moment for him. And see when the end of this season comes, Phil, and there's going to be so much drama played out on the pitch, off the pitch, on the pods, off the pods. When this season plays out, see at the end, this moment today, that swing, let me just put that swing. Do not miss when you swing. That swing at his left foot, Phil, that could be the moment that wins this title.
That's it. You mentioned a little bit Ralston, talked about his moment under Ange's first season, up at Ross County, stodgy game, deep into stoppage time, you score a winner. Tonight, we were far from our best. It was a stodgy game, stodgy opponent. And you just, these are the games that can get you over the line and win your titles. Yes, Celtic have won so many titles in recent years, and usually we're home and dry by about April or March, but it looks like this season we're going to be in the trenches, so it's going to be a close run thing as the way it stands right now. And you just need these results. You were right earlier on talking about when you put some context on it. When we do tend to come back from an international break, it does, you can be a bit of a stinker of a game, and it's just a bit grinding it out. We've seen it in recent years where we've had some good momentum going into international breaks, which we did this one, and then we come back and then we put a performance like that. It was just all about getting the points tonight. St Mirren were never going to make it easy, but my God, just again, it just lines it up for them, and the goal's unbelievable. But I have to say again, why do we not do it more often during the game? It feels like it's been coached out of the players. But since Brendan Rodgers has left, that's Callum McGregor done it twice now in the space of a month. And this time last year, I think he'd already scored like 7 goals from outside the area at this point. And it's like, what's happened? And it feels like so many players are just really shot shy and they like to take an extra touch. There was a couple of moments tonight where it sat up nicely for like Hatate, but he looked for like an extra pass. Luke McCown was the same, and it's like there's Callum McGregor just showing you how it's done. Left it a bit late to do it, but it got there in the end. But there were moments during the game where other players had that opportunity, and it's an extra touch. It's looking for another pass, try to walk into the net. Again, you don't shoot, you don't score. It's such a simple adage to say, but it's true. And we saw it tonight, and it's dug us out a hole. Yeah, we weren't exactly glittering at all tonight, but we got it done. And yeah, I think a crucial thing as well is at the end of the game, I thought Callum McGregor, the body language and what he did when going up to the fans, the message was quite clear about stick with us. He was telling the fans he's more than aware of what's been going on. Obviously, you can't ignore all the bullshit that's been going on around the club right now, but he's basically telling the fans to stick with them, the players, more than anything right now. Regardless of what's going on at boardroom level, he'll understand the fans are coming from and their frustrations. McGregor himself has been vocal this season. Forget what Brendan Rodgers has said at times. McGregor's even came out and said about how we needed more reinforcements, we needed this, we needed that. So he knows he can see it from the fan point of view. But I thought that message at the end, you could tell that he was saying to the fans, stick with us here. We really need you with us, and goals like that and moments like that will keep them with him, because it was a magic moment. And without a doubt, up there is a goal of the season contender, no doubt. When we get to the end of the season, it could be one we'll be talking about and how important it was when we get down to the nitty gritty.
Phil, I'm not going to pretend he's my mate or nothing, right? But I had about 20 seconds of Callum McGregor's time one day outside the stadium. After the game, I staggered out of the Kerrydale and he just happened to be coming out, and I met him and I had a photo, and I just had 20 seconds with him, and it was just after Rodgers had left the first time. And I said to him, don't be going down south to join that bastard Rodgers. And he turned around and he said, listen, mate, he says, I ain't going nowhere ever. And it could be one of those things that, it could be, he could have signed for Leicester the next day. Do you know what I mean? But it stuck with me. It was just the passion. It was just the way that he said it. I walked away from that, and I just always had a wee spot in my heart for him where he said it in such a way that I never thought he was ever going to leave Celtic. And see, when I talked about players that might just look for excuses and use excuses, and my goodness, there's so many excuses from above. As I said, the culture starts at the top and it works its way down. If those guys are looking at the guys at the top, fucking hell, you could put nothing into a game and you can get away with it, because there's guys putting nothing into their day's work at the top of the club.
Yeah.
But I honestly think that Callum McGregor, when they talk about Michael Nicholson and Lowell and these guys bleeding Celtic, I think Callum McGregor does. And I'm so happy that it was him scored that goal today. It was him got the crucial goal against Rangers. And this is still going to be a very, very difficult season to navigate. Mm-hmm. And I think he will have more key moments from today onwards. And if we're going to win things this season, we're going to be relying very, very heavily on him. And I'm happy in that situation, in that I think we've got a guy in there. Like, look at captains of other teams across Scotland.
Yes.
Their fans have no faith in them, that they're leaders.
Yep.
See in a week where Celtic's leadership has been questioned left, right, and centre, and quite rightly so. And that leadership has not stood up and not led. In that one moment today, that young man led Celtic from an absolute disaster to still in the title race.
Oh,
he's the one guy that stood up. He's the one guy that stood up. It's the only moment of quality in that whole game. And it's the only moment in the last week that anyone at Celtic has stood up and shown any level of leadership, any level of responsibility, and any level of trying to make things better for this club.
Oh yeah, I'll have a shadow of doubt. The guy is a winner as well. You know, he's been over the course of how many years now at Celtic. He broke into the team in 2014. He's been the captain since Booney left. The amount of trophies he's lifted. So the guy is a winner. He knows what it takes. He's had games like this in the past at Celtic, where again it's been an ugly performance, but you know we found a way to grind it out, and that's what champions are all about. And the thing is, as well, we're talking about navigating this season and the key to success. In a few weeks' time, we're playing St Mirren again in this League Cup final. And what will tonight's performance, because that's 2 games against St Mirren this season where they've taken us right to the end. We had to beat them 1-0 on the first day of the season, and it was, 88 minutes like we scored in, Luke McCown. Tonight, it's been even deeper than that, 94th minute. How's Stephen Robinson going? Is he going to look at that and think, oh, I've got a game plan now? Or it'll be a case of we've got a few more games now, we can get some momentum again, and maybe we'll just roll into that final, turn up, do them. Will it be the manager situation? Will that play a part? Will it still be a Neil? Will we have a new manager in? All these things. But it does. I mean, I always thought with St Mirren tonight was always going to be a difficult one. And they're in this cup final on merit. They've done well under Stephen Robinson. They've become a consistent top 6 side now. So I was never ever going to go into the cup final and think, oh, it's we're going to blow them away, no problem. Tonight's performance does, and if you add on the performance at the start of the season where they made us work for it, it's going to be a bit of a slog as well. So we're going to have to be very, very wary going into that. But again, guys like Callum McGregor, he's been in these positions before against teams like this. So we're going to have to rely on people like him. We're going to have to lean on him on days like that, and we play them in a few weeks.
I'm not too worried about the cup final, Phil. I think when that comes round, I think we've got guys that have been there over the stretch, and I would hope to get the job done. If you put yourself in Stephen Robinson's position or the St Mirren players, that's 2 games where they have put up a hell of a performance. And we've done them in the dying embers both times. So, they're going to be sitting there scratching their heads going, we probably can't play a lot better. They probably can't play a lot worse. And they just get the job done against us. That's how I would look at that. But I threw the fixtures up there. I know it's a wee bit small. It's a wee bit small. Feyenoord on Thursday night is just an absolute pain in the arse. I wish it wasn't there. I can't be arsed with it. When Thursday night comes, yes, do you know what? I want to win the game. I want to take something from it. But see, right now, I just wish that game wasn't happening. Look down at the bottom, you've then got Roma. I wish them games weren't there, because do you know what? We've enough fires to put out in Scotland. Hearts are lying up, resting every week, and we're running about playing these fucking stupid matches.
Dundee and Hearts back to back. There's some PTSD there seeing that, because we lost back to back to them as well this season. We played them 1 week apart, didn't we? So
but the difference is, if we go and win those 2 games, that reverses that straight away. Next
Hibs game next week is hard though. That's going to be tough. Hibs away.
But today was going to be tough, Phil. I didn't think we were going to be as bad as we were, but I did think it was going to be a tough game. Hibs are going okay at the minute. So let's just put it into context. Recent results. Hibs went to Love Street the weekend before we went off on the international break, and they won 3-0. So they've gone to that same place that we went today, and they've won 3-0, which on face value, without seeing any of the game, that feels like a bit of a stroll to Hibs. That's going to be a very, very tough game. If I had to pick which game we prioritise between Feyenoord and Hibs, I'd be prioritising Hibs. But I don't even think we're in a position where we can prioritise because we're trying to play our way into form with loads and loads of injuries. I think we just go into each game, we do it. So let's see what next week brings. Then you've got Celtic Dundee. You would hope at home that you get your job done there. And then you're in to an absolute titanic battle against Hearts at Celtic Park. And I'm not interested in looking beyond that one because that's going to be huge.
Yeah, it's just see that's the big one. And the thing is, if we can keep winning, if we can find a result next week against Hibs,
it's going to be so hard. It's going to be so hard next week, isn't it? Like,
aye. And then so Aberdeen are playing Hearts tomorrow at Pittodrie. Aberdeen have had a wee bit of resurgence recently, but can you really trust Aberdeen?
I fancy Aberdeen to get something. I genuinely do.
I hope so. So we're in a position where we're relying on teams to take points off Hearts. This is where we're at right now. But yeah, if we can keep getting the results, we can put ourselves in a position where if we beat Hearts and then we win our game in hand, which is on the 17th of December, I think, against Dundee United at Tannadice, it can put us, I believe, a point behind Hearts if they were to win all their other games. But say they could drop some points as well because we have to keep getting the results. So yeah. It's a long way to go anyway. You know, Cal McGregor said it best tonight, although he did worryingly say as well, even if we drew tonight, you know, there's still a long way to go. Try telling that to a Celtic fan tonight if we drew that game after the events of the last 24 hours. I get what Cal McGregor's saying there. He's trying to be like diplomatic and put things into context, but again, it's like I don't think we can afford that, Cal. Right now, the anger is at a fever pitch. We just need to keep winning. The only thing that can, this would even remedy it. Because the only thing that will really, get the fans will just keep our spirits up anyway, regardless of the bullshit that's going into results on the park. So we couldn't afford to drop any points. We just couldn't at all, regardless of what McGregor was saying in that part. It's like, no, we had to come and get a result tonight, regardless. And thank God we bloody did.
Okay, Phil. So that's us to Thursday in terms of the matches. There'll probably be wall-to-wall drama between now and Thursday because that's just where we're at with Celtic.
Yep.
Do you expect a new manager before Thursday?
Still think it'll be Neil and Sean Maloney for the rest of the season. I keep on saying
it. Is it Neil and Sean Maloney or is it Sean Maloney and O'Neill?
Yeah. I think Sean Maloney's really the manager here and Neil is just the front because this board, they want a yes man. They want somebody who's easy to control, somebody who will not show too much ambition, will just happily accept any signings that they throw at.
Why do you think that's Sean Maloney? Why do you think you? I think that's an assumption where you're just thinking he'll be so happy just to get the job that.
I'm basing it on that. I think with the way his managerial careers went so far, because obviously Hibs didn't really do much. Maybe Hibs sacked him too quickly. If I remember right, he only got like 4 months in the job, and I think they just missed out on the top 6 on like the last round of fixtures before it goes into the top 6, and they sacked him there. And then he was at Wigan for a few seasons, or like a season and a half or something as manager there. And yeah, I just feel like to him the Celtic job will be like the biggest that you'll get. A bit like when Neil Lennon got the Celtic job. Plus, going on previous experience, Neil Lennon had the job twice on an interim basis and then was just given the job full time. So when this initially happened, when initially Neil and Maloney were announced with a cup final beckoning, or a semi-final rather, against Rangers, first and foremost, my first thought was, well, if they beat Rangers, which will be a big result, obviously, because it's a game against Rangers, they're surely going to get the final. And then if they win the final, they've got a trophy. So surely the board are going to look at it as, well, they've won as a trophy now. We may as well keep them on. In my mind, I was like, they'll just keep on pushing it and pushing it. Me and Liam and Johnny talked about it last night, and I think Reegan had said to us that somewhere Peter Grant, on one of his radio shows that he's on, has said that he's heard that they're going to be in situ till at least January. And again, when January comes, the January window opens, and you're going to have an interim manager. So to me, it's like, no, they're not the interim manager. It's under the guise of the interim. But I think genuinely that's what it's going to be until the club prove me otherwise. And I want to be proven wrong in this. Yeah. I want us to go in a different direction. But I just have too much PTSD of how this board operate when it comes to an easy and quick appointment, and to them that fits the bill for me.
See, I didn't think there was any chance it would be Maloney as the main man until I seen that move in the betting yesterday after the stuff at the AGM. And then I thought, do you know what? These guys have got together. There's a few pints swinging, and they've turned around and gone, we can really, really piss these off by sticking Maloney in. Do you know what I mean? That's the only thing.
Yeah. Well, given the contempt that statement showed, does he know?
That cannot be right. Let me just check that.
12-1. I was going to say, with the contempt that the statement that was read out shows, maybe they're thinking, you don't deserve a good manager, Celtic fans. Maybe that's what Dermot Desmond thinks of us now. You just don't deserve a adventurous appointment.
McLaughlin P is having us on. Nancy is 1-3. I still think that's the most likely outcome. I mean, if you take away all the drama and all the shit, why hasn't it happened if it's supposed to happen? My thoughts on that, there's a few things. Nancy's obviously the main man at Columbus Crew. There's potentially there that he wants to bring 3 or 4 guys. What kind of money are they on? Are they going to be on life-changing money that's worth uprooting yourself from America? They'll have seen the snow falling in Scotland this week. They'll have seen the AGM. They'll have seen the mess that we're in. I can see why he would want to move on somewhere to better his career, but will all those backroom staff, will they move be so attractive to them? Will Celtic go, well, no, you can't bring all your merry men the same way as Eddie Howe couldn't bring all of his? Will Celtic insist on Gordon Strachan and his iPad? Will they insist on Fozzie or Sean being part of it? Will they insist on McManus being part of it? I don't know. I think there's stuff there that needs to be sorted out. I think the fact that Martin and Sean have now won 4 domestic games in a row, there's a bit of leeway in terms of we don't have to rush this. We don't have to jump into something because the guys are here. They're holding the fort. They're doing okay. I think they want Nancy. I don't know if they want all the backroom people. I don't know if all the backroom people want to go. I don't know if it's financially worth their while going or whatever. So there's stuff there that has to play out.
By the way, breaking news, Patrick McLaughlin has just indeed sent me the picture. He says, I'll send the picture to Phil now. He sent me a screen grab on Facebook Messenger of Bet365's current live 10:15 is the time in the top left corner on the clock, so it's within the last hour.
I'm on it right now. I'm on it on a separate page.
By the way, it still has Kieran McKenna as number 1. That can't be right. Can I
share the page that I'm watching? I've got
Kieran McKenna and Postecoglou are still up at the top. That's got to be out of date.
What can you say? I'm seeing Kieran McKenna's 20-1.
Kieran McKenna 46. It says here. That's got to be out of date. It has to be.
That is not right. It's not right.
It has to be, man. There's no way. Right. I mean, Martin and
I can take a screenshot here. I'm clicking onto a separate page here, and
Marco Rose's name is on it. There's one that's
I'm so IT illiterate, right? I'm so IT illiterate. I'm on Bet365 on another page. I don't know how to share it. Wilfred Nancy's 1-3. Sean Maloney's 4-1. Martin O'Neill's 11-2. Lee Carsley's 9-1.
Lee Carsley still
10-1. Robbie Keane 12s, and then you're going into stupid Kevin Muscat, Kieran McKenna, Brian Barry Murphy, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Ange Postecoglou, Roberto Martinez, Craig Bellamy, Liam Neeson, Jimmy Nesbitt, Ali McCoist, and Alan Brazil, and then Barbara Windsor. Barbara Windsor, for fuck's sake.
Fucking hell.
I don't know where that's come from.
Oh, dearie me. Yeah, that's a confusing one. Patrick said
we're not going to solve the manager bit tonight.
No, definitely not.
We couldn't avoid having a little chat. We're 130 deep here, so we're going to go for another 5 or 10.
Sure.
We couldn't avoid yesterday's stuff. I thought you guys covered it off really, really well. I thought all the content creators have all done it to death. They've all done a great job. Did I mention Kaiser earlier? No, I had to do a shout out for Kaiser.
No, you did not. No.
Shout out for Kaiser. I was meant to do this weeks ago. Everybody knows him as Kaiser. His real name is Martin McDonald. He's done the rounds on the pods over the years. He's currently on, what one's he on?
Celtic. Oh God, I was going to say what? It's not Celtic World Order, but it's something.
No, it's not Celtic World Order. That's Steve.
No, that's Steve-O.
It's the one that Scotty. It's the one that Scotty Allcroft runs. It's
is it Four Leaf Clover podcast?
Four Leaf Clover. Sorry, yeah. I had it. It's the Four Leaf Clover. See, the problem there is because Kaiser's been on them all. He's been on them all fleetingly. He's on the Four Leaf Clover with Scotty Allcroft, the Baldy Trucker, and a few of those guys. But Kaiser done the sleep out at Celtic Park last weekend for the foundation, and I forgot to give him a mention the last time we were on. So if anybody wants to give to that on his page, he's raised almost $1,000 on his own for the Celtic Foundation. He went live from the Celtic Park last weekend, and it was a cold weekend, and he was out there, and all those people that were there, and there was a couple of ex-players there as well. Tom Boyd was there, and there was somebody else there as well. So fair play to everybody that done that. Fair play to Kaiser. If anybody wants to throw a few quid his direction, you can get his YouTube channel, or you can get one of the Four Leaf Clover or any of that. So that's that done. Let's touch on yesterday, Phil. The Daily Record. The Daily Record went with the headline: Celtic slam, unacceptable shareholder conduct. Was that aimed at Dermot Desmond?
Well, via his son. I honestly, like, it was, as I said last night to Liam and Johnny, there was a lot of scenarios in my head of how I thought it was going to go down, but that wasn't one of them. That, to me, I said it last night, it felt deliberate to me. Like, they wanted it to descend into a path so that they could escape the ridicule and getting the scrutiny of what's happened to the manager, what happened to the transfers in the summer, all the different questions. Things like, what about the upgrades to the stadium? I read last night on Twitter that in the wee daft videos they were showing, there was some line about the upgrades they've made to the stadium, and the line in the video literally said, but you can't see them. It was something like, we've actually made lots of upgrades to the stadium, but you can't see them. And it's like, well, what good's that then if we can't see them? So honestly, it was an absolute farce from top to bottom, and I'm not even surprised one bit. And the line, say, that really stuck in my craw was about people whose only vocation in life is to be anti-establishment. That one was unbelievable. Again, that was him basically saying, and then I think they went on to say something along the lines of, the people sat at this table, the ones doing the best for Celtic, that's what they want. And it's like, so you're saying that you basically kind of called everybody that's criticising these jobless and saying they don't have a right to an opinion because they aren't sitting at that table doing what's best for Celtic. It was just absolutely shambolic stuff. And I think the fans that spoke up and made their voices heard, I think they were in the right. Because too many AGMs have come and gone now where there's been an idea going into it that, we're going to hold some of the hierarchy to account, and then nothing really comes of it. You get stories about a fan asked a question that was a little too much for the boss. He was kindly asked to leave. I think, they had to get it both barrels yesterday. Yes, it did descend into a complete farce and whatnot, but I think it had to be done. They had to see it firsthand. But the problem is they are doubling down. They still believe that they are in the right, that their model is working. The clues were there a month ago, Terry, when they had the meeting with the Celtic fan collective, and the minutes came out, and Mackay and Nicholson talked about how they strongly believe that what they're doing is working in terms of like the recruitment and whatnot. And again, it's like it's not working at all. And then yesterday, that comment, in the very brief time that they actually said something, when they mentioned about since 2003 and they brought up Europe and whatnot, and it's like teams with like a shoestring budget compared to us have knocked us out of European qualification. And it's not even just Champions League. We've been knocked out of the Conference League as well by Bodo Glimt about 3-4 years ago. Remember that? We dropped into the Conference League thinking, we fancy our chances here. Knocked out of the first hurdle. Europa League, one of the good seasons we actually had in the Europa League. We topped a group with Lazio in it, home and away, went into the next round.
And like Leipzig as well. Or Leipzig not in that group?
Lazio, Rennes, and Cluj were in that group. It was Neil Lennon. But we beat Lazio home and away. Brilliant. We topped the group. We qualified after 4 games. Going to the next round, we draw Copenhagen out, papped out. And then you look at all the qualifying failures, teams like Malmo, Legia Warsaw, even though we got a reprieve in that one, then lost to Maribor in the very next round. And honestly, just the spin that they put on it, it's just a bigger belief. And then, of course, him highlighting 2003 and saying that, the work that they've done and so forth, and then making a wee jibe that there'll be teams that punch above their weight. I assume he's talking about our neighbours across the city who've been to 2 European finals in that time. Hey, if punching above your weight gets you to a couple of European finals, I wouldn't mind that myself, to be honest. But we can't even win a knockout game. But they are defending that stuff. And it's like, nah, they're delusional. They are truly delusional, mate.
It's been done to death, so I don't want to go into an awful lot of detail. My takeaways from it were, I would love it to have got to the Q&A stage. I genuinely would. I think the plan from the board members, the guys at the top table, I think they've hatched a plan all week. I think that's probably why the Nancy stuff has gone quiet, because Michael has turned his phone off again, and they've been hatching a plan to try and get through this 2-hour period from 10:30 to 12:30 on the Friday without getting to the Q&A and without Nick having to speak, because he hasn't spoken at any stage. And for him to get through an AGM without having to speak from the stage is absolutely unbelievable. But I think this whole thing's premeditated. I think they've planned all week. They've anticipated the reaction. They knew what their reaction was going to be. Mm-hmm. They knew there was going to be unrest. Yeah. They didn't bring in someone. There's obviously no one within the club who was able to control a room of under 1,000 people who were unhappy. Now, if you're a CEO of a company on close to £1 million a year and you can't control a room of under 1,000 people who are unhappy at an AGM, then you're out of your depth, mate. And there was nobody else there who was able to do that. They then have thought, how can we avoid all the awkward questions? I'll tell you what, we'll get them to go nuts. We'll fucking rile the life out of them. We'll get them to blow their top, and then we'll blame it on them, and we'll leg it so that we don't get to the questions. The meeting was halted after 4 minutes and 37 seconds of a little bit of unrest. A little bit of unrest. Now, I'm not a smart guy or a clever guy, or I don't know the ins and outs and workings of corporate stuff. I have been at an AGM for a small organization, and I kind of have a rough idea of how it should play out. But I genuinely believe there's a plan that has been hatched to drive people over the edge, give us an excuse to get out and get the fuck off that stage, get to 12:30 unscathed. There's a bottle of red in my fridge, and we'll get there, and that's us done for another week. We can draw a line under it, and we can get through to Monday, and we'll limp through next week. That's what it feels like to me. There was nobody on that stage that could control a room of unhappy shareholders. And that's the way you have to describe them. They're not fans. They're not Green Brigade. Unhappy shareholders. Yeah. Now, at AGMs all across the UK, all across Europe, all across the world, you will have day in, day out AGMs with unhappy shareholders, and they don't fucking run off and get out of Dodge and just piss off without fucking dealing with the hard questions. That's one of my takeaways. Mm-hmm. Another one I have is how they look down their nose at the Celtic supporters. You can look at Lowell's behave. Imagine telling shareholders, guys that have got investments in the club, behave.
Yes.
But do you know what? Is that how he talks to his dog when it tries to have a piss on his fucking heated driveway? You know what I mean? That's what it was like. Behave.
Yeah.
Yeah. fuck off. How the fuck are you behave?
Man.
If I'd been sitting there now, what I would like to have happened is I would have thought what would have worked well is if the whole place just went silent. If there was a whole silent thing from the start, let them do their piece, let them do their fucking shit videos, let them spiel all their pish, let Ross Desmond read his dad's fucking pissed up statement. Just sit there and say nothing. Just no reaction, no nothing. Just let the clock tick down, and then you go Q&A, and then fucking bang them there. I would like that. I was tuned in. I was looking for that. I'm disappointed that it didn't get to that stage because I think that let them off lightly. And I'm not criticizing the guys in the room because they were there. There was a lot of aggravation. They were wound up by the guys at the front. They were set up, they were wound up, and they done what the board wanted them to do. They wanted them to react. They were looking for a way out. The guys gave them it. I don't blame them. But what I think would have been effective there is if everybody just sat silent. And you can't organise that because their shareholders come in there and they're from all over the place. They're not all part of the collective. They're not all part of one club or organisation. They're coming from everywhere. And you can't get that organised within minutes. But what I think would have been powerful is if they just sat silent. No reaction. No reaction to nothing. And then the minute the Q&A went live, the board wouldn't have been expecting it to get that far. And that would have been the moment to look them in the eye, stand in front of them, ask them the difficult questions and watch them squirm. But it was never going to get that far because they played the cards. Noel set it out straight away. He didn't even get 5 minutes in and he adjourned it. Half an hour. And then straight out, that half an hour's lost. That's your time. We're not staying on because we have a bottle of wine in my fucking office and there's a cheese board coming and my driveway's heating up and we're going to go around and have a party at the house as long as the dog doesn't try to piss on it because then I'll tell him to behave. But that was half an hour gone. So this thing that's been planned all week, let's get through from 10:30 to 12:30. Well, fuck me, straight away, you're through to 11. Then we just have to go out there and ride it out for maybe 10 or 15. Then see if it's not going our way. We'll go to you, Ross, and you just let go with Daddy's statement, and then that's it done. The whole thing's done. It's done at that point. You can see Ross Desmond. Who the fuck's he? What gives him authority to sit and speak at a Celtic AGM? But anyway, you could see him looking over at Peter, going, Peter, that's your cue. You're meant to end it. He looks over it, and then he goes and reads another wee bit, and his hand's quivering, for fuck's sake. Don't send a boy to do a man's job. But his hand's quivering. He keeps looking over. Peter, that's your cue. We talked about this at the half-hour break. I say this, and then you go, then they all roar, and then you go, that's it, canned. That was never getting to the Q&A. Never, ever getting to the Q&A unless the shareholders sat there and just...
they wouldn't have expected that. They wouldn't have seen that coming.
That was the only way. And it was too hard to organise because, as I say, you've people coming from everywhere that don't know each other. It wasn't going to happen, but that would have been a reaction that they wouldn't have been expecting. They were just thinking, do not get to the Q&A. They got there. Well,
you just need to look at the statement that you read out. There's no way that anyone with any common sense...
The word I was thinking of, Phil, was inflammatory. It was
inflammatory, yeah. Right. Yeah. So, I know the Celtic board don't do common sense, Terry, but there's no way anyone in the world with any common sense reads that statement before it comes out and goes, yeah, that's fine. That won't antagonise anybody. They knew exactly what they were doing with that one. They got the most inflammatory statement they could in order to provoke an angry reaction because emotions were running high and they got their wish. It just fell into their lap. It really did.
But Phil, the AGM is not a place... From my perspective, it's not a place. It's a place for formal. It's a place for formal activity to happen. It's not a place for one guy to go off on a rant against a group of 600 supporters. That's not the forum for that. It's nothing.
Yep.
The AGM isn't about a group of 600 supporters. That statement was just an attack on 600 supporters. That has no place at the AGM. That's a minor detail as far as I'm concerned. Why is he Why is that even happening at the AGM? That's nothing to do with the AGM. There's other formal things that are supposed to happen. That was thrown in there. That was a grenade that was going to mean that nothing else happened beyond that. Now, if those guys had any sort of salve, if they wanted that meeting to continue, and they're smart guys, you don't get to their positions unless you've got some kind of level of IQ. They're smart guys. Now, if they wanted that meeting to continue, if they wanted to quell the, I don't want to say rabble because I associate that with Rangers. if they wanted to settle everybody down, Ross Desmond would have had the cop on to say, right, see that statement that he's prepared. That's just going to make things worse. I'm not going with that. I'm just going to make a business decision here. That's not the right thing for this AGM. I ain't doing it. That statement was always going to get read. That was the last thing they had to stop any awkward questions, and that was going out. And I heard a few of the pods, and they were going, they think he might have gone rogue, and that wasn't reviewed by anybody. I'm pretty sure everybody at that top table knew what he had in that, and that was their last ticket out of there. There's no way he was getting a live slot before Nicholson without anybody having an idea of what he was going to talk about. Can you imagine they've given him a slot and nobody at all, your £1 million a year CEO, nobody has said to him, Ross, what are you going to talk about in your 5-minute slot? Has nobody said that?
Of course not. They knew exactly what was happening there.
That was the final grenade, and I don't blame the people that were there for reacting to that. I wish they didn't. I wish they just sat there in silence and got it through to the awkward stage. But I totally understand how that has happened.
And now, Terry, that's 2 rants from Dermot Desmond in the space of
everything was
month.
Brendan Rodgers' fault. Now everything's the Green Brigade's fault. Next time it'll be the podcaster's fault, I'm pretty sure.
Well, I saw something on Twitter today, and I totally agree with this point. Somebody tweeted it saying that if Celtic don't win the title this season, another statement will come out for Desmond blaming us, the fans as a whole. It was all our fault that everything went wrong because we
got that kid from Ireland on the podcast there, fucking coming on streaming and talking pish every fucking Saturday.
Unbelievable. Yeah, mental.
But Phil, here's the thing, and I don't want to be controversial or anything, but see about a year ago, see some of the stuff Ross Desmond said in his statement. Some of that stuff might be what a lot of Celtic supporters actually felt about the Green Brigade. It just wasn't the place to bring it out. It just had no place at an AGM. I'll bring you back to one thing from about a year ago. Do you remember when the Green Brigade wanted to create the Celtic end, and they were basically canvassing for people? Like, there were some supporters that were coming out and going, who the fuck do they think they are? They're bullies. They're trying to move me out of my seat to create their wee area and stuff like that. And I think that's fair, because there's a lot of Celtic supporters didn't agree with a lot of what the Green Brigade done. And that's fine, and that's fair. And I'm probably in there where I love the atmosphere that they create. And I'm too dopey to know about the politics and stuff, because I'm not into that shit. I couldn't even spell politics. But I know that a lot of Celtic supporters haven't agreed with a lot of what they've done. And that was one thing that was a bit contentious, was, why the fuck should I give up my seat that I've had for 20 years or 30 years, or my seat that gives me access to the end of the stadium that I arrive from, or I need an easy way out of the stadium? They're bullying me out of my seat. There were people that talk like that, where, who do they think they are? The same kind of idea that Ross Desmond was saying, but he's picked the wrong forum at the wrong time. And what it's actually done is, the Celtic supporters are now completely united behind the Green Brigade, even though a lot of them, high percentage, disagreed with a lot of what they were doing 12 months ago. which I don't have an issue with. I don't have an issue with at all. But I think it was just worth pointing out. I'm thinking Brendan Rodgers was the only person speaking to the Celtic fans, and we got his narrative, and that led us down one path. Then Dermot Desmond came in and told us, "You've been misled. He's a prick. Don't listen to him." Then the only people speaking to us are the collective and the Green Brigade are part of that. They're the only people that are speaking to us. And then we go down that path, we get that narrative, and then Dermot Desmond is now jumping in and going, they're all crazy. Don't fucking listen to them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. They've tried to, in their mind, they're trying to fix the problem, but in turn, they've actually made it worse for themselves. They've actually made it worse. The group that they hate the most, they've got more fans on side with them, so they've kind of shot themselves in the foot basically by what they've done. And it's only going to get worse from here on before it gets any better. And the only way it changes is we have to see them gone, but I don't see it happening, unfortunately. I think they just dig their heels in further, and this will rumble on and on for how long's a piece of string. Basically, you couldn't even predict it at this stage.
I know, but as long as the Celtic keep winning the games, as long as we're up there, as long as we're going to be in the fight come the end of the season, that is the main thing. A couple of other quick ones from me. I feel Dermot Desmond, as a shareholder, he should be on the other side. He should be the one asking the questions of those imbeciles who are running his investment into the ground. That's my thoughts. As the biggest shareholder, he should be asking the questions. What are you guys doing to maximize my investment as opposed to minimizing my investment? And the other bit that stuck in my throat was that swing. I'm going to bring it up again because it took me about an hour to get AI to give me something that looked even remotely like him.
It's a very good AI, actually, to be fair. It's actually a good caricature. I noticed he used that word, I noticed he used the word caricature in that statement. Did you notice that? I know. I want to dispel this caricature idea of my father.
That's why I went for it. That's why I went for a caricature. Looks like, Phil, do you think I'm an amateur? No, I went into Chat GPT and it just brought me a picture of somebody that looked nothing like him. And I said, look, do you not know what he looks like, or do you need me to upload a photo? Make it look like him. So, swing and miss, and it could be fail. Something along those lines.
Yeah.
I do not expect Celtic to win the Champions League. I do not expect Celtic to compete with EPL, Serie A, Liga, Bundesliga, and La Liga. That is beyond us. Consistently, that is beyond us. I do not want Celtic to fire that 80 million that's sitting there doing nothing. By the way, the most money we paid out over the summer for anyone was the taxman. I do not want that 80 million to be splurged on below average players to try and win the Champions League. We are not going to win the Champions League. I will not see Celtic win the Champions League in my lifetime. I'm pretty certain that no one will see Celtic win the Champions League in the next 200 years. I'm pretty certain of that because I understand the landscape of European football. Even though Ross Desmond, via his daddy's statement, told us that we don't understand that landscape. I understand that landscape. That's why I'm happy to sit here and go, Celtic will not win the Champions League in the next 200 years. I'm not asking for that. I'm not asking to compete with any of those big leagues. All I want as a Celtic supporter is for us to win our fair share of the matches in the Champions League that we should win. And I don't think it's too much to expect, and I don't think it takes 80 million to put us in a position where we beat the worst Champions League team of all time in CARRMAGEDDON, some of the worst Champions League teams in all time that have put us out. Help me out here. Ferencváros, AEK Athens,
Malmo.
Malmo.
See, Legia Warsaw, then it was Maribor, Cluj.
All those.
Yeah.
The ones that the banners put up. All those absolute shit teams that we have got.
Midtjylland, they were
Midtjylland. All those teams that we've got so much more money than, such a bigger potential than. I'm not asking to spunk that money to try and catch Real Madrid or Manchester City or Liverpool or Arsenal or Barcelona or Inter Milan or any of those teams. That's just unrealistic. I'm realistic. All I want to do is beat the teams that we should be beating some of the time. And that's not happened. And anybody that can sit there and turn around and try and make our European record out to be some kind of success story, that is just absolute pie in the sky. And Dermot Desmond, as the biggest shareholder, he should be sitting there holding those guys to account instead of helping them squirm out of difficult questions at an AGM. Last one I'm going to fire at you, Phil. If that's how... Oh, I've just took a cramp. Fucking hell. You bastard.
Well, we have been on for 90 minutes. Cramp usually sets in at the end of a game, so you know.
That's because I was jumping about when Calmac scored. Fucking hell, the cramp's sore. Last thing.
Yes.
Here, you never
don't get this one,
so I'm taking the cramp, do you? Jesus. See the way they looked down their nose yesterday?
Yep.
Fucking behave and all that stuff. Can you imagine if you're a young laddie, a young footballer, right? A young guy with a lot of potential in your late teens, and Celtic are interested in signing you, and the negotiations are handed over to some of those guys that we seen yesterday. When you see the disdain and contempt that they hold their supporters in, can you imagine them sitting there doing negotiations with some laddie who's not even 20 and he's looking to go and rate for somebody at his level, like 25 grand a week or something? Can you imagine Michael Nicholson on his inflated salary that he doesn't earn, or Peter Lowell, who doesn't get the same salary now, but he was the CEO for a hell of a long time? Can you imagine the contempt that those guys would have in the negotiations? It's not a hamstring. No, I'm available. I'll be available for Thursday night if I need it. But can you imagine the contempt that they would hold for some young laddie in his late teens that's just asking for the going rate for a talented footballer?
Yep.
Can you then start to join the dots how we miss out on so many fucking players?
Yeah, you start to see why they haggle so much on things and to save all these pennies. And not only just from a player point of view, if a player looking at this and whatnot, what about a manager, a prospective manager looking in and seeing all this shit show that's going on as well? Funny enough, we happen to be in the market for a new manager, and it's funny how it's dragging on a little bit. So you've got to wonder if that's playing a part as well. So it
has to be, Phil. If you put yourself in brother Wilfred's shoes, he's sitting there, lovely weather in America, nice cushy number, everybody loves him, regarded as one of the best managers in the MLS. We can't be the only option he has.
When you think so,
we can't be the only option he has. And if he takes a wee look, if he gets those videos from yesterday the same as we all got, like, is he gonna go, do you know what? I'll wait for somebody else. Like, there's thousands of clubs across the world. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't have to pick us. Now, he might be the kind of guy that goes, yeah, do you know what? I'm big enough to take this challenge on. I'm not just going to sort them out in the pitch. I'm going to sort the whole thing out and see if he does. Fair play to him, big balls to him and all the rest.
Yeah.
It's just an awful... Anybody looking in from the outside, it's just so embarrassing. And there's just people swinging golf clubs absolutely everywhere around the whole place. And just an absolute mess. Anyway, we don't know what's going to happen, Phil. We could all wake up tomorrow and there'll be another drama. The only thing that's certain is I'll be here on Thursday night with somebody of a Celtic persuasion, of a Boys in the Bus persuasion. We have done half an hour on the most boring match of the entire season.
This is the second time done. We did a 90-minute show for the 0-0 game with Rangers as well, where we managed to do a post-match that was probably more entertaining and just as long as the actual game itself.
That's it. We've got something going for us here.
It just happens, mate. But yeah, it was a Thursday night. I know. Is it if we get the 6 o'clock slot on Thursday? Is it an 8 o'clock kickoff on Thursday?
No, I think we might be the early one because
early.
I've cried off from my.
Because Rangers will be playing a game on the same night and they'll be at Ibrox, so they'll probably have an 8 o'clock kickoff. Even though we did get a 6 o'clock one this season against Braga, so I wonder. There we go. 5:45. Thank you, Ryan T.
I've told my boys football club that I'm working late because I knew it was an early one.
So
if anybody's watching
on about 8ish then for the people.
If anybody's watching from the boys football club, just ignore what I just said. I'm busy. I'm working. But you know what, Phil? I can see that shit far enough away. Like, you know what it's going to look like. You're going to go out there. We're going to get fucking beat 2-0, and you have to come on and talk shit for half an hour, and then it's all roads to Easter Road. For my mind's just Easter Road.
Yep.
And as much as my aspirations are in Europe, I just think it's just one thing we don't need right now. And the chances of going through are very, very slim at the moment. We could still do it. Don't get me wrong. We could still do it. We might be surprised. We could be. Feyenoord aren't any great shakes this season. We'll be sitting here on Thursday night and going, yeah, do you know what? We've still got a chance. And if we do, brilliant. Let's get on board with it. But at the minute, the only thing I can think about is Hibs. Somehow, just like today, somehow get the 3 points. And then you're into a massive week where you've got Dundee and Hearts. And that could be your whole season right there. Do you know what I mean?
That's it. And the big games keep coming. I think it's a game every 3 days now. So I will be plenty of post matches coming up, Terry. I'll make sure you need to make sure that cramp doesn't come back. It's not a hamstring because you're going to be in a lot of runouts in the next few months, mate.
It's because the international break there. I had nothing done over the 2 weeks there. I wasn't out at all. So
teased up on you. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up there, Terry. As I say, it's been an eventful one. We've managed to do a longer post-match show than pretty much the game. So there you go. But yeah, if Celtic appoint a manager this week, doubtful, we'll probably jump on and do a show. If not, as Terry says, we'll definitely be back on Thursday anyway for the post-match for the final game. And yeah, thanks everybody for watching. And Terry, it's always been a pleasure, mate. Another fantastic show with yourself. Good banter tonight, good chat. And yeah, it is quarter to midnight on a Saturday night, and here we are doing a post-match. But anyway,
it's only yet.
The night is still young. It's not a school night tonight. Right, we're off skate. But thanks everyone for watching. Do all the good stuff on the way out, and we shall see you on the next one. Cheers, guys.